Hey, what's good, everybody? Today I wanted to make a video about the bee, right? The bee may be a spirit animal that a lot of people overlook, because it's so common. We see it all the time, and we may not think that it's trying to give us a message because, like that. We just see it so often. But, if it ever shows up in the rarest places, that's kind of obviously it's trying to get your attention. So for me, that's what happened yesterday. As you know, most of these spirit animal videos I do when it's clear that I've been getting a message. So yesterday, I went for a mountain bike ride, and there was a little bee stuck right like underneath my handlebars, so I could see it as I'm riding. I could see it, and it didn't make any sense. There was zero sense to why this little bee is sticking to my bike and how it got there. Like, how did this bee end up dead? It's not hot right now, so it didn't melt on there. It didn't, nothing. Like, I put my bike away, so there was really zero reason for it to be stuck. And so, the 18 plus miles I rode in the mountains, it never fell off. I kept looking down, and it was right there, like my little companion. After I drove home, I don't know how many miles. I'm sure it's over 10 miles, maybe. Um, yeah, it never fell off. So it's pretty interesting that this little bee was riding with me. I'll jump right into the meanings. One of the meanings, of course, being that there is different meanings for like dead animals, right? If you guys didn't know that, obviously, sometimes it's just that you took on the energy. Like the other day, I already made a video about the skunk, but the other day, a few days ago, I saw a dead skunk, and it jumped out at me because I had also had a dream about something, and I think I was more open to like right now, I don't know, I feel a little more calm, less defensive, right, at things in life, right? I feel more maybe because of holidays, I was willing to interact with people more communication, which all has to do with the bee, right? But even the dead skunk, in a way, could mean you don't have your guard up, right? You're not ready to spray anybody that comes close. So seeing the dead skunk, I took, it could mean that energy as well, right? Also, it could mean you're harnessing that energy even more, right? Like, so that's the thing about it's all about how it made you feel at the moment. And so this little bee, to me, also, because bees are hard workers. So when it's coming to you, when you're seeing it, it's like it's either or. Like I said, you have to tap in and ask, like, or know your higher self. Bees are hard workers, so it could be telling you to take a break, right? Or, like I said, I mean, being alive, it could be telling you, keep going at it, right? Don't stop. Also, right, it's all about community, sacrifice. The bee sacrifices, right? When it stings you, it gives it its life. So it's willing to give its life for the community as well, right? It's a very sacrificial. They've tied it, depending on what religion you believe in or who you follow. But like before when I think the bee was probably one of the first spirit animals I noticed, and I looked it up because it was just coming to me nonstop. Um, and they even compared it to Jesus, right? Like the sacrifice kind of thing, right? Like the bee will give its life for the whole community, and it doesn't want to sting you because once it stings you, it dies. So it's really about sacrifice. I mean, the bee is the epitome of sacrificing for the community, right? So, I mean, obviously, you're not gonna sting someone and die, but it just shows when the bees around you, you have that character of sacrifice, right? You're a very loving person that's willing to do things for your community, right? You know how to work as a team. If you see the way bees, not only build their hive but live in their hive together, right? Like all bunched up. Obviously as humans, we probably wouldn't want to live like that, but um, that's how the bee um lives, right? And also the pollination. If you see the way, I guess, and it's funny because as humans we don't realize how important the bee is. So for it to come as a spirit animal is really a blessing, right? I'll share at the end another, like, once when a bee, one that obviously I could remember when the bee came to me and it was like a blessing, right? So anyways, you see the way they pollinate, right? Like they say like if all the bees died, like we'd pretty much, we wouldn't be having a good time, right? Like the humans, we need bees, right? They pollinate, right? They help things grow, they spread. Obviously the trees or plants that give us food and all that. So the bees are over there spreading, just like little hummingbirds, and I'll have to do that one next. But they're over there pollinating and everything. And so also, back to the meanings, it's like it could mean to keep working in that way, right? Like, hey, you're doing good. Maybe you just started a new kind of business, right? Or a new job or a new, endeavor, right? Like maybe you're someone, right? Maybe you're an influencer and you're on there, you have a YouTube channel and you're spreading a word, or you're just spreading word amongst people. So they're telling you, yeah, keep doing it. Like you're the little pollinator. Maybe people don't appreciate you now, right? But it's important. You're vital. You're a vital. You may not see it in the big web of life, but you're vital to this spreading something, right? Like you're spreading, and you may know you're a positive person. You're not spreading hate. You're not spreading animosity. You're not spreading envy. Nothing like that. You could be a musician that's over there. That's when the beat first came to me, when I was doing music, and I felt like it was encouraging me to keep spreading, pollinating, right? You're spreading something to reach people positively, right? In a positive way. So the pollination is very important. So it's telling you that, right? Like to keep spreading the message, keep going at it, or keep doing the hard work, right? Bees are really hard workers. They really never stop. It's funny too, because I heard how even that, right? Like the bee does the impossible. Their little wings aren't supposed to carry their bodies. Like they're built aerodynamically, like it's all wrong to us humans. Like we'd be like, oh, how does this work? But nature, it could be a beautiful reminder of nature, right? Just the beauty and the magic of it, that this little bee that's not supposed to fly flies, right? It does the impossible. So for you, it may seem like you're up against odds that you're just not gonna win, but the bee's showing you, yes, you can do whatever you set your mind to. You can accomplish this, right? So um it's also that, right? Like believe in the magic, believe in yourself, not just the magic, but believe in yourself that you have been given the tools needed. And it's funny because the wolf moon had to do with a lot of things that I'm thinking about as the bee, right? For me, since I saw the dead bee, it also means that a loved one just departed, and I just lost someone very dear to my life. That it sent my spiritual walk in a whole different direction. In a good way, definitely, right? You know that's probably because of him is the reason I even use that term in a good way, right? Because he took me to my first native ceremony and welcomed me in, right, to a ceremony. I've been to ceremonies that were more open, but that one was just for with his tribe, and this is the friend that welcomed me and invited me. And so he passed away just on the 5th of January, before the day before the full moon. And so it even says that seeing a dead bee could mean a loved one, right? And the way it stuck with me, for me, it gave me that message, like he's with me, right? Like he stuck with me, like, right? That seemed impossible that the little bee would stick onto my bike for no rhyme or reason, but he stuck with me, and he's just showing me like, hey, I got you, even in the spiritual. Like I'm riding with you. And he was a mentor. Like I talked his ear off, asking him questions about things when, obviously about ceremony too. I was nervous, like, oh, what do I don't want to do nothing wrong. So just that. I'll share something quick too. Even the other day when I went to pray for him in the mountains, it was crazy. As I was praying for him, it was like 21 ducks flew over me. They could have been duck or geese, but I think they were ducks because we had made a joke about ducks, and they flew over me as I was praying for him. Like a 21, obviously there wasn't 21 guns, right? But it was 21 ducks. So it was funny, like his little 21 duck salute, right? So that was a beautiful thing, especially that the spirit animals helped me honor him in that way, right? The spirit animals came in that way, right? I have to look up the meaning of ducks because I know that, was probably significant as well in me praying for him, and the energy that that had. But back to the bee. So yeah, hard work. Well, yeah, I mean that was tied into the bee, right? About the the passing of a loved one. So if you see a dead bee, it's not to get freaked out. It does have other meanings to me as well, which are more personal. So I won't talk about that in a comparison. But it could be warnings, right? It could definitely be warnings. So somehow, some way, it's like showing me that even the bad things will have to balance out in the great scheme of things, right? So if you're not on the right path, the little bee finding a little dead bee could be a reminder, like, hey, get back on the right path, right? And then that would be it, right? So back to the bee. So yeah, it's a really hard work. It's you know you're working hard. It's telling you to keep going. The pollination, the very loving of family, the sacrifice. And I think that's it. Definitely know how to communicate. Like I said, I shared things like that in the about the wolf moon, right? The wolf moon is all about communication and all that. So it's funny that the bee, has been very prevalent right now, right? It's coming out to me, and it shouldn't be. That's the weird thing. I'm not gonna get into the weirdness of it because it's winter time right now, and bees usually aren't around in the winter, right? So it could be talking about that kind of stuff, right? There's been weird things with nature, so it might be telling me to prepare, right? With the dead bee, like telling me, like, hey, maybe they're dying because they shouldn't even be around right now, right? It's the winter, so it's affecting them in a weird way, right? Um. So, anyways, just in closing, a funny thing that happened once was, you know, I was working on this TV show, and I didn't even. It was like I had just came back from some kind of big protest, right? Which could be tied into the bee as well, right? It was very sacrificing in a way because it did take a toll on me, right? Mentally, physically, financially, everything, right? It took a toll on me because I was gone for almost 3 months, to join this this whole movement, right, of activism, and then having to sacrifice a lot. So, anyways, when I came back, I don't even think I wanted to go back to the acting, but I got a call. Hey, do you want to just be on this show, right? And I was like, okay. So I went to work, and it was weird. Like I didn't even know I was gonna play. I didn't even ask questions. I was like, whatever, just give me my paycheck, I'll be good. And so I'm standing outside talking to someone when this little bee just comes and lands on my cheek and flies away. Like it gave me a little kiss and boom, it flew away. And even the girl like laughed, right? We were laughing as that happened. Like, oh, what was that about, right? So, anyways, after that, um, show, it was like they ended up making me like the person that kind of saved everyone. So it was really funny, right? It was like that was strange because like I said, the bee is about sacrificing this and that. So in the show, I ended up being the one, and it was like the season finale of this show, and it was like I ended up being the character that saves everybody. And what did this show happen to be about? This pandemic, right? Before it even happened, it was about this whole pandemic thing, right? Years, a couple years before the pandemic actually hit. So it was really strange, right? And it was like, obviously in this whole thing, I was safe, right? And I made videos about it on this channel, trying to say things, and it was deleted by YouTube. So I'll just say that, right? Like I tried to express certain things I was shown spiritually about this whole situation, but YouTube deleted me, and so there it is, right? Like it just is. It is what it is. I try to still behind, away from YouTube, talk to people about this, the things, but I'm sure it's very connected to the bee, right? But I never forgot that. Imagine it's been years, and I didn't forget that this little bee came and kind of blessed me, not only for this show, but showing me things that were coming later. Like very prophetic, this bee, right? So listen to the bees. They are prophetic in nature. They will show you signs of things that are coming. Maybe sometimes it's pretty quick. Like they're showing you a change in the climate, a change in the environment. They're showing you things. So you pay attention to the bees, not only the bees, but other animals. The bees are very prophetic in nature. So it could mean that you're really tapped in. You're connected to not only source but the whole way that life functions. You're very vital at that moment. You're connected to the order of nature, not only nature but life. Spiritually, like in a lot of cultures, bees are thought of to be messengers between both worlds. Like I gave the examples about, that's how I took it. Like the dead bee was my friend, sticking with me and just showing me like, hey, I'm with you. Like, don't worry. Like, I guess if you need me, I'm here, right? So in that way, the bee was there, right? And obviously death and rebirth. They say bees also, it's like sometimes, there's a lot of resurrection energy in them, right? A lot of resurrection in the energy of a bee, because of, like even a storm will hit and destroy their whole beehive and everything, and they'll just build a new one, right? So it's like you could be going through something in life that's pretty heavy, and you might feel like, I'm never gonna get out of this or this and that, or you're starting something new, right? So bees are, if you need that bee energy, they're the best at helping you rebuild something, right? So hopefully I wasn't all over the place. It's just the bee has a lot of things, so I kept remembering other things. You can watch all my other spirit animal videos. It's tied in because even on the time I saw the bee, it was interesting because there were also vultures. Right as I'm heading into the mountain, boom, the vultures appear, right? And then by the end of it, I have this little dead bee, and by the end of it, there was just so many crows, exaggerated amount of crows. So that might be one of my next spirit animal videos. But just the amount of crows, crows is all about change, right? Like it's change, transformation. So it was interesting that I already did the vulture video. So the vultures came to cleanse, they're purifying what remains. Here's this little bee that's traveling with me, like a death and rebirth, literally, like I said. And then the crows come in, boom, to like hit the change, right? By the end of this whole thing. And it was interesting because I even forgot my headphones, so I had to be more attuned with nature, right? I had to be listening to nature. So it was meant to happen that way, right? Like it was meant for me to make this little journey in the mountains, and really travel with this little bee, almost like it was being my guide into this new transition, right? It was guiding me into some kind of new transition. Okay, so I had already finished, but I wanted to add this because all of a sudden it clicked in my head. Well, the sound too, right? How could I forget about the sound of the bee and its healing properties? Like, we even hum, right? Like, I'm someone that hums a lot, right? Like, it's funny. Um, Sometimes people, they'll notice it and they'll laugh because I'm always just, so I know the bee would be more of a totem to me, but just the sound, right? Like I'll be humming for no reason. And I'm sure a lot of humans do, right? Like we'll hum. It makes us feel good. It raises our vibration. It raises, our mood changes. Like we'll, hum a tune that we like and just be happy about it. Or even humming while you eat because you're just like, like everything's so tasty, So you're like just humming, right? So, and you'll see kids before someone teaches them like, oh, shut up or something, like they're humming because they're happy. So I hum. I don't care. Like, once you get older and you don't care what anyone thinks, you're happy. It raises your vibration. But so I decided to even look it up, and it's amazing what I found. So I was just thinking about the healing effects of the bee sound, and then so I'm just gonna read it to you because it's really amazing, right? So I guess this is from I'll read the article after, or it says Inner Self, right? That's what it's called. And it's the healing power of the hum of the hummingbees, right? So it says, in ancient tradition, the humming sound of the bee was said to stimulate the release of super hormones known as the elixirs of metamorphosis. This sound also resonates the ventricular chambers in the center of the brain, which are filled with cerebral spinal fluid. Cerebrospinal fluid, CSF, is a clear, colorless body fluid found in the brain and spine, produced in the ventricles of the brain. It acts as a cushion for the brain's center cortex, providing basic mechanical and immunological protection to the brain inside the skull. Imagine that. So the humming stimulates this fluid that even protects your brain. CSF also circulates nutrients and filters chemicals from the blood, removes waste products from the brain, and transports hormones to the other areas of the brain. Oh yeah, that was okay. Many different spiritual traditions also believe this fluid is sacred and is the conduit for vital life energy that travels up and down the spine into the brain. Doctors McCord and Schumacher also told us that the humming sounds of the bee resonate and stimulate various structures of the brain, including the pineal gland, pituitary gland, hypothalamus, and amygdala, whose functions we have discussed in other portions of this book. So this is from a book, actually. So that's everything it says right there about the, and I guess it came from ancient Egypt. I believe that's what it's talking about, right? So that article is from Jonathan Goldman and Andy Goldman. So just in case, I wanted to give them credit, right? So I thought that was amazing. So all the things we forget. There's so many natural healings, right? So the fact that it builds, this thing, maybe it would be helpful for your spine as well, right? If you have some kind of spine injury and you need this fluid to be flowing through. So, you could read more about it. I just wanted to add that because, it clicked. See, something just whispered that in my, if you guys know how that works, right? Like I was already going to finalize this, the spirit animal video, and something just spoke that to me about, the sound. Don't forget about the sound. And of course, meow loud. Let me see if there's actually something, some kind of scientific article about it. And there it was, right? So I think that's pretty amazing. So with that, I'll end it. Thanks for watching, listening, and don't forget to thank the bee as well, right? When it comes to you, because you see, not only does it give little message, but it actually is just a walking medicine, right? Like, or flying medicine, right? It gives so much to us, and we fail to appreciate the value of this little bee, right? That's not even, I already talked about it, so I'll just end it there. Okay, peace, thanks. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, sometimes you just feeling it, you know what I'm saying? You just feeling it. And I want to feel this way forever.